Wait, you are recording too frequently? What?
We're live.
Good evening. We are live on the Believe in Monsters podcast. Here to talk about another miserable week of Chicago Bears football. So we won't bore you with the intro. You know who we are. Chris Krogman, Lucas Berry, Joe Gaither. Luke, you brought up a great place to start. Chris Krogman, you've been watching the Bears for a long, long time. You followed Chris Krogman at Shy Bears 1985. Tell us, what is your favorite excuse? What is your favorite methodology or your favorite go-to ism that helps you get through the Bears' just utter week after week pathetic football? What's the excuse that makes you, makes it all not hurt as bad?
It's just football. It's just a game. It's not that big a deal.
Oh, that wasn't what I was getting to.
That's not an excuse. That's real talk.
Oh, there's always next year.
The high draft pick?
High draft pick, yeah. My draft pick's off in one. Look, but there's no more excuses. Like,
do you think saying the Bears always sucked is an excuse?
The Bears
in and of
still
itself?
suck.
No, man, because, like, they didn't, dude. I grew up in, like my biggest football watching days, like when I was at the bar every week with my friends and shit, was the Lovey years. And I moved to San Diego and they went to the Super Bowl. Like, I had a good run where we were beating the Packers regularly and beating Brett Favre regularly. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't like it is now. And then George McCaskey took over and fired Lovie Smith and everything went to shit.
Oh, to me, well, Luke, to you, what's your favorite ism? What's your favorite excuse? What's your favorite, this is the reason the Bears always suck?
Because they're the Bears. I don't know. My whole life they suck, so that's what I'm saying. The excuse is that they've always sucked, and they find a way to mess up anything.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about always sucks, it's because Virginia and Mike McCaskey murdered her fucking brother.
That's why the football gods are not letting us have nice things because of it.
Yeah, exactly. Muggs Hallis is sitting up there with Jesus being like, are you going to kill my sister and send her to Lucifer or not? Like, he's just like, bro, come on. Like, she offed me. I had a whole franchise. I was giving players and coaches like a piece of the franchise, and
I helped build the 85 Bears.
I was the architect of the 85 Bears.
Yeah, no, that's my favoritism. That's what I always go to.
The murderous subplot where the Bears are tied to the mob and they're throwing games.
I just think we're cursed because of Miss Virginia. Until Miss Virginia passes away.
You do throw that around a lot, quite a bit. But now it's gaining more and more weight now and steam. And in all honesty, like, what's old boy's name that just posted that tweet? It would be nice to find that again. I can't find that. I'm not scrolling through our ridiculously long.
I don't know. And his page was a little nuts too. So,
his page is wackadoodle. He's a huge, probably racist bastard. Is that in our text? It's in our text chain, so I don't have to search through.
Oh yeah, it is. I did. Like, I sent the article from like New York Times or something like that.
Well, anyway, for people who are listening and don't know what the hell we're talking about, allegedly,
really.
Allegedly, really, Muggs Hallis was supposed to inherit the Bears, and then he mysteriously died of a heart attack. He got filled with sawdust. We don't know if it was because someone filled him with sawdust or from the autopsy, but he mysteriously died of a heart attack. Virginia inherits the team with the McCaskey family, and ever since, the Bears have sucked. And then supposedly, Ted Phillips was brought in as a mob lawyer to help with tax issues, and then he kind of just hung around the franchise with these mob ties. Supposedly, these are some hard-hitting accusations from this gentleman. I don't know.
Yeah,
it sounds crazy. Eventually,
X Andrew Balboa X.
I feel like you could make an entire movie out of this, whether it's fake or not, just because it's like what a crazy subplot. You know, you change the name of the Bears and make a fictitious football team. You have a great movie plot right there. Or if this is proven true, and you get a nice 30 for 30 or NFL Films on it.
I say we write the movie, but we leave all the names the same.
No, we just flip the first letter of each name. So it's Bugs Hallis, Virginia Verkasky.
Virginia. Do you think Virginia would have lived as long as Virginia?
She would have been like Moses and lived to like 900, bro.
Well, anyway, we can believe what we want, but the bottom line is the Bears absolutely
Still
suck.
And,
Still suck.
Joe Gaither, what did you make out of Thomas Brown's head coaching debut?
Hey, real quick, just one last thing on this. It's like if the NFL ever did an investigation into this and found out like if there was any truth to it, they would have to yank the Bears, right?
Yank them in what sense?
Like force them to sell like they did the Snyders?
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is different though too, because the Bears are like the founding kind of franchise.
I don't give a fuck, dude. The
But-
Commanders have been around since the beginning.
I'm not
of
saying
time,
you
too.
give a fuck. I'm saying the NFL is not going to want to dig too deep on their freaking golden child here.
Dude, if this is their golden child, they have an awful way of treating them. Good God, we suck. Are you for real?
Redheaded stepchild of
Seriously,
the
the bastard fucking originator of the NFL, George Hallis, and you're just like, man.
You know, Green Bay Packers would not be around if it weren't for the Bears because of George Hallis footing the bill for the Green Bay Packers when they were in financial trouble. That's your worst mistake, George.
Shoot, the Steelers wouldn't be around if they didn't like combine with the Eagles for a while. Create the Steagles.
It's the Steagles. Yeah. So this has just been going on. You asked about Thomas Brown, and I'll tell you, I watched Red Zone through the afternoon because I didn't really want to pay attention to it. And I thought, oh, if the Bears are doing anything, I'll see them on Red Zone. And I didn't really see him on Red Zone until the very end. I saw a lot of highlight catches to George Kittle. And it was just pretty much a mauling for the 49ers. What did I think about his debut? The team looked as lackluster as ever.
Yeah. He didn't
Just
miss
as
much.
much.
It was George Kittle lighting us on fire.
I mean, every other time they cut to it on Red Zone, I mean, whether it was in the red zone or not, it was here's a 20-yard chunk play, here's a 25-yard chunk play.
It was
Yeah.
Kittle, Jennings, and Garendo or whatever random running back they threw in there, just scoring at will.
Just running right through the defense, looking like absolute just asshole.
Yeah. And the offense, again, didn't look like anything until the second half. And then they finally got their poop in a group a little bit. But still. Unfortunately, look, Bears fans, everyone on this podcast included, overreact to everything.
No.
Like Thomas Brown, first half as a head coach. Okay, well, on to the next one. It's like that was probably going to happen anyway. And if they'd have come out and beat the Niners, they'd be like, all right, well, we found our head coach. And it's just like, pump the fucking brakes, But he did not have a good debut as a head coach, play caller. Dude, and you're asking a lot of this man to go from the passing game coordinator who, per our own Lucas Berry, wasn't really involved in much when Waldron was in charge. And now you're pushing him all the way to be the top dog. It's a cool story, but yeah, probably too much too soon.
No, and I was kind of just saying that in jest just because everyone was on this guy's nuts about a week ago. The players. It's just as much on the players as it is anyone. They're this stench of this losing culture has permeated the locker room, and they're playing like a bunch of losers, like a bunch of freaking babies. You go out there, you bitch, you moan to the media, you get your coach fired, you get a guy fired, and then you go out there and do that. So congrats. Y'all look like a bunch of assholes now.
Why is Tremaine Edmonds all of a sudden suck?
Because we signed him and paid him way too much money.
Because we didn't want to pay Roquan?
I may be in the minority here, but I am still okay trading Roquan for a second-round pick. I just would not have dumped all the money into Tremaine Edmonds.
That's probably the safest middle ground.
You don't pay a linebacker that much money. I don't care if it's Roquan or who. Good move trading Roquan. Bad move signing Edmonds.
Yeah, that's probably.
You make value moves, and you find guys like Edwards who are going to ball on a budget.
I mean, first off, probably don't even draft Roquan at number 9 overall. It's probably way too high for a middle linebacker, unless it's Brian Urlacher. But
Well, he played well for those 3.5 years. He did.
Well,
You know my point, though. It's not even like the rate. It's not like he's anchoring this dominant Ravens defense now. You know, that defense kind of stinks, too.
He played well with a Bella Danger.
Ooh.
On a boat.
I don't know. This is also why I'm just very much. Now you're starting to see how ugly this is going to get the last few weeks.
Fire Ryan Poles.
Exactly,
too.
Joe. Exactly. The team can't look this bad. You can't permeate this culture through the locker room of just this attitude that's just of losing and we suck and wallowing. You just can't have it. Get rid of that guy, the architect of this losing culture.
Take a bullet to every single one of them on the 50-yard line on Soldier Field.
Like, I don't see how Kevin Warren, especially with the way he ran that press conference, like, Poles isn't his guy. Like, there's no reason for him to keep him. And the only reason that they would goes back to the whole McCaskies are cheap thing, but that feels inaccurate at this point, especially considering, I don't know who brought it up in the chat, maybe it was AJ, $200 million for Arlington Heights, and that might not even do anything.
Yeah, you're sitting on the largest plot of land in that.
So paying Poles and Eberflus makes no difference. Plus, there was another story that came out that said that Warren would have an unlimited amount of resources to find the next coach. So what's a GM? Fire Poles. Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter.
I mean, it also works the other way, too. I'm sure Poles isn't happy they're having to report to Warren. I mean, we don't care what he thinks, but still, they did this backwards. So now you threw him in a spot where you changed his boss after a year when he was promised. Just get rid of it. Get rid of it.
So how do other organizations, does the GM report to the owner?
I don't think so.
So he reports to the football operations guy?
Yeah, I would think so. I don't know that for a fact, but it seems accurate.
A team president, CEO type.
I mean, the fact of the matter is no other organization has this problem. You know, they don't have the football operations gentleman at the podium ever.
Mark Murphy is the CEO of the Green Bay Packers.
I was going to say, who do the Packers report to? The fans?
Mark Murphy.
Well, I mean, it's fun to make fun of them, but they also are a much better franchise. So maybe we should just sell shares to the Bears fans.
It is funny that the shares of the Packers
don't
mean anything, aren't worth anything. They're not even real. They're really just a piece of paper, and
they're fundraising.
They say they're owners. I know.
It's a fundraiser. It's okay. They sell Girl Scout cookies, but they put them in the form of a piece of paper.
Al Guido is the team president for the 49ers. He's been there for 6 years now.
Who does John Lynch report to?
Yeah, him.
Oh, he does? Okay. And did you confirm the Packers GM reports to the football operations gentleman? What are you just on like NFL.orgtree.com?
No. I mean, I don't know that they directly report to these guys, but that's that's who's in place. That's who's in the proverbial Kevin Warren role. Al Guido, president. In his role as president of San Francisco 49ers, Guido is responsible for all strategic initiatives and business operations for the five-time yada, 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 yada. Currently serves as chairman and CEO of Elevate, an award-winning full-service consulting firm, one of the industry-leading operators. I just think that a lot of these people do have team presidents. I mean, you got them all across but when you've had a fired coach, basically my impression is that because George McCaskey wants to be involved, Kevin Warren is his middleman to kind of oversee all that stuff. I just think it's the McCaskey's fault, really. Not anything. I don't think it's any deeper than that.
It's Ted Phillips' fault. Virginia McCaskey, Mike McCaskey.
I don't know. I think they need to fire Poles, though. I think it's your only chance at kind of salvaging this thing is letting Warren hire his own guy because that's what you brought him here to do. Now that he's the president, you let him handle that shit and not McCaskey and not a search firm. You let him
do it. Hire Urban Meyer.
Great. You let him freaking do it, and you see what he comes up with. And that's going to be the question that these guys come into in the interview. You know damn well they're going to grill the Bears on what the fuck is happening, and these guys better have an answer for it.
All right, so you're Kevin Warren. And the season ends. What's your first move?
Fire Poles.
Okay, and then what's your replacement for Poles?
My first call is Ray Agnew of the Detroit Lions.
Okay, and that's essentially what if Ragnew doesn't want to bring Ben Johnson for whatever reason? Is that just a Ben Johnson play, or are you in on Ray Agnew regardless?
I think he's the best. Don't they
have a relationship?
Yeah, one, Kevin Warren knows him. Two,
right.
I think he's literally the best executive available.
He knows him. I mean, I know they spent time together in St. Louis, but I mean, I guess we don't know what that relationship looks like.
But yes, no, that's my first call regardless. But the ultimate goal is, hey, Ben Johnson, you can work with your guy from Detroit. We'll hook you up with the same contract. Bada boom, bada bing.
Bada boom, bada bing.
It at least shows him you're serious about bringing him in to a good situation with someone that he's willing to work with. I couldn't see why he wouldn't want to work with him. I mean, that's probably the best match he could get is following him somewhere.
Right.
But if they keep Ryan Poles, I'd have some questions like, okay, which one of you guys is in charge? Why are you acting so sketchy in your press conferences? How do you explain not addressing the line in 3 freaking years? Entire thing here.
So proud of him. He was so proud. He was so proud of his depth, man. He was so proud of his depth.
We addressed the line. We sent a first-round draft pick on Donnell Wright.
Joe, that's the funniest thing. And now I'm starting to see people again where they're like, oh, the Eagles have 1 first-round draft pick on their entire line. Yeah, well, when the Bears get Jeff Stoutland, you can start doing that too. Until then, you need to spend all your freaking high draft capital on him because we know you damn well can't hit any other draft picks.
Tyler Booker, Alabama.
Isn't the LSU tackle better?
Will Campbell.
I mean, they're good players.
And the other thing too,
guard.
We need to stop cheaping out on the interior line. I know people say, "Oh, guard's not a premium position."
Yes, it is.
Give Trey Smith an empty freaking check. It doesn't matter at this point.
Anybody protecting Caleb Williams is a premium position.
Exactly. So when it costs $25 to $28 million to get Trey Smith here, you do it. You don't say, "Oh, I could get this guy off the discount rack for half the price, and then we can sign Travis Homer to a 5-year extension."
Or we just draft Tyler Booker.
You should draft him anyway. Braxton Jones freaking sucks.
That's right. Draft Tyler Booker to play guard. 6th overall, 9th overall.
So you get a GM in place. The rumored coaches already, which seems kind of scary because hopefully we're not going down this path again of, just putting coaches ahead of putting the cart in front of the horse, right? But the rumored coaches, per Danny McShow at Danny McShow, Dan McNeil on the Twitter box, are Ben Johnson, Brian Flores, Joe Brady, and Mike Vrabel. So, Joe, out of those four for you, who's the worst possible option?
You said Vrabel, Ben Johnson, Joe Brady. Who was the fourth?
Brian Flores.
The worst to me would be Joe Brady.
Easily.
Yeah, I'd say Joe Brady as well. And then I guess for Lucas, I think Ben Johnson's probably the consensus number one between all of us.
You know,
Who
they're
would
gonna get Vrabel. They're gonna get
It does feel like it's going down there, Joe.
Yeah,
It really does.
I don't see how. Why? Like what? Like why? Like what?
He's
Why?
safe. We can sell. We can sell. We got a football guy. We got a raw football. We got a Dan Campbell. We got Diet Dan Campbell up in here, and he's gonna talk nice at the press conference. He's gonna impress the media. He's probably gonna cuss out.
He's not nice in the press conference. He's mean as hell to the media.
He's gonna be. The fans will like him. That's what I'm saying. He's gonna cuss out Dan Wiederer and all those guys. He's gonna get all on their tail, and he's gonna talk discipline, and the team's just gonna be ass.
No, they won't be ass. They'll win like 8 or 9 games. But
yeah, what they'll do is they'll beat all the teams that they should beat, and they'll lose all the teams that they should lose to.
I mean, wasn't Tennessee in the AFC Championship game like a shit ton of thing?
No, they went once. Just selling them short. Those teams are bad, and they were stuck with Ryan Tannehill.
The franchise, you're right on that. You're definitely right. But he's definitely the type to be. He's going to say yes to Virginia. He will say yes, ma'am, to Virginia. But he'll be a hard ass, and they'll be able to sell that we got a football guy. It will be exactly Diet Dan Campbell.
I don't think he's as bad as everyone's saying.
I don't think he's as like pushover as you're calling for either.
No, I don't think so.
Like, I mean, he's Belichick light in the same regard.
Him and Flores are very similar in the fact that they're just kind of like Belichick dickheads.
That's true.
Well, I think Flores is another level of dickhead. I think Vrabel can probably toe the company line a little bit better, where Flores is like, I give no fucks. I will sell
Flores
you.
is more the unknown to me, though, and I like that.
I'd honestly be shocked if Flores gets another fucking head coaching job.
After
what he did in Miami.
I agree. None of the owners are going to want to. You're going to want to step out on Stephen Ross like that.
Nope. None of the owners are going to want to like have a guy that could sell them or could throw them under the bus at any moment. You know,
right? Exactly.
He could sue the league or sue the team or whatever. That was like I don't see him getting another shot, honestly, just because of that.
Well, he got forced out of that position. He didn't really get fired, and when he was working there, his team was fucking horrible. When they won 10 games and beat up the Patriots and Bills, they were horrible.
Getting pushed out and getting fired.
No. There was something. He didn't get fired because he was doing a bad job. He got fired because he did something that they didn't like.
Exactly. Like, That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying he won't get another. I'm not saying he won't get another head coaching job because he's a bad coach, although he's probably not a great coach.
He won't get a job because he was insubordinate to the owner.
Yeah, because because he burned bridges.
Yeah.
He tried to sue the league and shit. Like, that ain't gonna work, man.
His ceiling forever now.
I disagree that he's not a good coach. He hopped in as a DC and made that defense incredible.
I didn't say he wasn't a good DC.
I said it wasn't.
Vic Fangio is a good DC. He's a bad head coach.
He didn't get as long as Alicius Flores. I'm telling you, that Miami team was very bad.
Okay, so I feel like you're talking.
I would love Flores. That would be my second option.
You just said he was a shit. Okay, you just said he was a shit coach and he's insubordinate.
Why would? What did I say? He was a shit coach. I said he's an incredible coach, and I said he did something the league didn't like.
I thought you were saying his Miami teams were bad because of him.
No, the rosters were
talented.
horrible.
I see.
Okay. No, I'm serious. Go look at the team that went 10-6. Like, just go name half the guys on that route. It's atrocious. And he was beating Belichick and the Bills that year. It's insane.
Gotcha. I'm with it now.
And I like how he just tells it how it is. Like, don't give me this sugar coating crap. If the quarterback sucks, tell me freaking sucks. It is what it is.
I hear you. I just don't see him getting an opportunity because of being.
I agree. I think it would be a longer shot, but I'm kind of shocked that it's getting this far. Where his name's getting thrown around there again. I mean, he's had a nice rebound run, and if he can show them he's sorry for how things went down, I'm sure he'll get a shot eventually. We'll see. Yeah. But I agree with you guys. Ben Johnson has got to be the top of the list. The question is, does Ben Johnson want to come here? He'll probably interview here, but how the Bears will answer his interview questions, I don't know. I'm not confident in that at all.
I mean, there was a rumor that he didn't keep pursuing coaching last year because he wanted the Bears job and Eberflus didn't get fired.
Right. No, I think he wants the Bears job, but I think they also have to.
They have to.
Have to convince him a little bit.
Well, that's going to be the whole essentially Chargers change of tune, of being like, okay, we're going to step away from trying to do this ourselves, and like George is going to have to humble himself. And that's just not going to happen. Or Teddy or whoever's really running that franchise.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Warren's the big wild card, and I don't know how he's going to answer to that kind of stuff about who's running the team and this and that.
I mean, what happens with Poles will tell a lot. I mean, he could even just keep Poles as a freaking pseudo GM and really be running the show. You know?
I don't think he knows enough about the ins and outs of football to be doing that, but
no, I don't either. And that's a risky move to, like, from the scouting perspective.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think Warren's like trying to insert himself into like that kind of it more than like the administration side. Like, he probably has really good connections and knows a lot about all these coaches and this and that. But when it comes to like actually assembling a roster, there's no shot he knows what he's doing.
I mean, I think a person in his position has probably hired a lot of leaders in the past and should be able to identify a good leader. So, finding a good I truly think, regardless of like, I think he, like you said, Lucas, he needs to be able to pick his own guy with Poles, regardless of what he thinks or whatever. I think he deserves the chance to just pick his own general manager, whether that's Agnew or somebody else.
Mm-hmm. And it's more so the fact that he just, like, Poles had a chance and he just kind of blew it this year. It's not like he's like, it's not just like the Bears are doing well and he's just not his guy. Like, they're not doing well. The roster doesn't look that good.
No. Well, everything magnifies, every negativity magnifies every wrongdoing, right? Like, if they were a little bit better, the roster wouldn't look as bad. Honestly, after this ass whoop, the funny thing is like everybody was down on the Niners and they had so many injuries, and they forget like who the Niners are and who they're coached by, and they still have a good team. Like they just had some shitty luck over the past few weeks, and like people thought that the Bears were going to be like, I don't know, it's typical Bears fans, myself
They're
included.
an actual good organization that can handle, star players getting hurt and adversity. Because Kyle Shanahan is a good coach, and goodness gracious, what is it, about 2.5 days where people are like, maybe he's going to get fired 3 weeks ago? No, it was never going to happen.
That was never going to happen.
Like, and then was it this week that he talked about getting traded? Yeah, he addressed it.
He addressed it? I don't remember him addressing it.
Yeah, he did say something about it, and
he was like, I don't want to get traded.
Does he have a choice in that? I'm just curious. I don't remember. I don't know.
Let's see. This is from
I'm sure he does.
Conference. I know I don't want to be any place in the world more than here. My family feels just as strong, if not stronger. Yeah, basically gave the coach speak answer about wanting to stay in San Francisco.
Really, at the end of all this, though, you think Poles is safe, though, right? You didn't think he'll end up staying?
Wait, what?
Poles safe?
Yeah. Like, as much as I want him to get fired, it's another one of those things I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I think it's an absolute wild card. I think it's a 50-50 shot right now.
Really? Yeah. I would like it. Yeah, I would like to think I just feel like he's pretty safe, but if it's 50-50, hell yeah.
I think he's probably pretty safe.
Why?
Continuity. Somebody that Warren can trust.
I don't know. I don't know if
after a year, he doesn't know him after a year can trust. Like, you act like he's his fucking child. Like, they don't know each other, and Warren should have been knee deep in freaking stadium shit, which he still hasn't done a damn thing with. But potentially, Warren's trying to get his handle on what a gosh darn shit show this organization is.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to stay, but I would really like him to be fired. We'll see if they get the rest.
If he's not fired, it's going to be another lame duck, Eberflus situation.
But again, that's like where I'm like, okay, if he probably doesn't get fired, I don't see how Ben Johnson wants to come here if he's not fired.
I think Bragg said it, like, you either extend Poles or you fire him. You can't let him go into next year with a 1-year deal.
Yeah,
on a brand new coach. No
shot.
So what are you doing, bro? Are you taking selfies? We're in the middle of something here.
No, I'm texting a friend about their elf on the shelf.
You don't even have children. Do you do it for your dog?
No, it's not. No. I have actually some wrestling figures on a shelf, and I'm about to ask him if he wants to borrow them to like play with their elf because their kid. That's
Uncle Joe. What a guy!
Right.
That's what I'm doing. We don't do elf on the shelf, and our kids are starting to ask for it, which ain't get it.
It's not. And my buddy's texting me. I love him to death. Love his kid, but he's like, "Do you have any ideas?" And I was like, "What is it?" And he was like, "You move it around every night." And I was like, "That sounds like a lot of work."
Yeah, the whole idea is that
the elf around every night
is that the elf is watching the kids so that they'll behave.
Yeah,
and you move it to kind of simulate, like, oh, see, he's not in the same spot. He's moving around the house watching you. Fucking creepy, dude. Creepy ass shit. They even made movies about it. Anyway, we are completely off track. So,
watching you.
George McCaskey. We got a bear on the shelf. We got a Virginia on the shelf.
Keeper Virginia is watching.
Wheelchair. Ugh. She's gonna.
So, what do you guys think the chances are? And give me some names of someone who's hired not out of those 4 names that were mentioned.
Not Bill Belichick.
Bobby Slowick.
Be interesting.
Even though I think like the Texans are down this year, and that makes it tough. Um, so
I still like the Ravens coordinator as a little bit of a dark horse.
I love Todd Monken, man. You brought him up last week.
yeah, Monken.
His offenses when he, I mean, I know it's a college thing, but he was the offensive coordinator at Georgia, and he made that off. I mean, yeah, they had good players for sure, but Stetson Bennett was not an amazing quarterback. He made it so easy for Stetson.
He made. I mean, he was the Bucks offensive coordinator too. No, I'm pretty sure he was their OC when Jameis threw for 40 TDs and 40 picks or whatever the hell he did. 30 and 30.
Liam Cohen is my other one.
Yeah, Cohen's an interesting name. I think Monken kind of fits more with their has a lot of experience vibe. And I guess the other wild card too, I think, is Aaron Glenn, the Lions DC. I know I was just talking about Flores, but I want to see. Just get an offensive head coach, please.
You want a super wild card? You want a deep sleeper, as they say?
Dan Lanning.
Nope. Aubrey Pleasant.
Who?
Is that the girl?
I said deep sleeper. No. He's the assistant head coach and passing game coordinator for the Rams currently. He's probably going to end up with the Jets job because that came from the 33rd team. But most of those did. Most of these names I just threw out did. Like Cohen did, Bobby Slowick. Another name that is on this list is Jiro Evero. Is that the DC Broncos?
Yeah, he's been kind of a hot coordinator for a few years. He was awesome on the Panthers too.
What's the girl's name? The lady running back.
Jennifer King.
What's her chances? 1% less?
Dude, 1%? 1%. You think that no?
Okay,
a quarter of a percent.
Okay,
it's the longest long shot you could possibly have.
I do feel like this thing ends up with the Bears getting Vrabel or Ben Johnson.
I would rather.
I feel like there's too much smoke early on about them wanting someone with experience potentially. That's why I'm just like,
yeah.
Everything they're saying just screams like Mike Vrabel, please accept this job.
Diet Dan Campbell.
Mike Vrabel was Mike Vrabel before Dan Campbell was even relevant.
That's true. But they'll just be trying to, like, what, 2 cycles ago they're like, oh, we got to copy the Chiefs, right? So we got to go get Matt Nagy. And now this coming cycle is like, oh man, the Lions, they're so hot. Let's go get all their pieces.
At least with Ben Johnson, if he fails, it's like, okay, we took the hottest candidate and he failed. It is what it is. But like, you at least shot your shot and went after the big fish for once.
That's true. Do you believe the reports that said that they were going to open up the checkbook?
So they were talking about this a little bit earlier, and someone made it was Jeremy Fowler actually made a good point on this. He said he doesn't think Ben Johnson's going to get whatever they said, 15 to 20. Like, the upper coaches in the league make 15 to 20 million a year. And his point was kind of
he's still a first-time coach.
Yeah, his point was he's a first-time coach. Yeah, he's probably going to get a decent payday, maybe more than other first-time coaches. But essentially he was saying if a team opened up for him that much and went into that big of a bidding war, they'd kind of get the side eye from all the other owners. Like, what the hell are you doing? We're not setting this precedent for first-time coaches. So he was kind of just like, it's not going to happen, or he's going to get this crazy, outlandish, never-before-seen first-time head coach contract.
Really? Okay. That's interesting.
I think for Ben Johnson, it's more about the situation. And the Bears are going to have to answer for a lot of the bullshit that they put coaches through in the organization. And that's where I'm like, I don't think they can answer that and persuade him to go there.
I agree. That's why they're like, we need you, Mike Vrabel. Look. If the Bears hire Mike Vrabel, I'll be all about it because he said, do you remember this, Chris Krogman?
He would chop his nuts off if he won a Super Bowl.
He said he would cut his dick off, not his nuts, his actual dick.
Who said this?
Mike Vrabel. He said, I would chop off my dick to win a Super Bowl as a head coach. He said, my wife's not using it anyways. Whatever. So it's like, man, what kind of commitment? So, boom, you hire that guy, I'll be all in on it.
At least it's exciting. It's not just the same old boring shit we hear all the time. The coach is just an arrogant asshole. Like, he's going to tell you how it is. And like Chris said, he's going to tell Dan Weeder to shut the hell up.
He's going to say, Caleb's got to be better, but I got to call better plays.
It's not up to him to call plays, but
it's going
to be up to him to build a good staff.
Get the defense in positions to win. It's about blocking and tackling. It's about fundamentals. It's about dominating your box.
Who do you think, while you're in your research, look up who they think Vrabel would bring as his OC? That's what I'm curious about. Who does he bring over as his offensive coordinator if Vrabel is your choice?
Probably be anyone on Stefanski's staff right now, because that's where he is. Vrabel works for the Browns today.
I do know that, but he had Arthur Smith before.
Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah, but he ain't going nowhere.
No, I know that. I wouldn't even want Arthur Smith.
Freddie Kitchens.
So if Mike Vrabel were to assume a new head coaching position, he would likely consider several candidates for the OC role, drawing from his professional network and previous collabs. Potential options include Tim Kelly, served as the Titans OC under Vrabel, worked directly with Vrabel. Familiarity with Vrabel's coaching philosophy and offensive system could make Kelly a strong candidate. Don't even know who that dude is. Zach Robinson, he's currently the OC for the Falcons.
Ooh, that would be sick.
While not having worked directly with Vrabel, Robinson's offensive acumen and success with the Falcons make him a noteworthy candidate. I don't know why would he take a lateral move. Joe Brady's another one. Bobby Slowick, Liam Cutler, everybody else already has a fucking OC job. So
when was this written? Last year?
No, this is just ChatGPT coming up with shit.
Oh. ChatGPT, come on.
Freddie Kitchens.
No, you're not hiring Freddie Kitchens. Shut up, Joe.
Just telling you.
All right, I'm looking it up.
Why would it not be? Man, your keyboard is awesome.
Yeah, it's loud.
It's the microphone and the new setup.
But I like it. I wasn't complaining. I like it. It makes it sound like we're actually looking something up.
I am actually looking something up. So Charles London, current quarterbacks coach for the Titans.
That guy used to be on the Bears staff. He used to be our running backs coach.
Pep Hamilton. Everybody knows who Pep is. Luke Steckel, run game and analyst for the Bears. I don't even know who that guy is. Brian Johnson, QB coach for the Eagles.
So I'm not hearing Cliff Kingsbury.
Chad O'Shea, wide receiver coach and passing game coordinator for the Browns. Worked with Vrabel during their time together in New England, and he works for the Browns right now. That's a pretty good connection right there.
So not Lincoln Riley.
I feel like Tim Kelly would probably be the ideal name, Chris. Now that ChatGPT said that.
Ken Dorsey, recently fired as the OC for the Bills. No direct connect to Vrabel, but he's an experienced play caller. Vrabel would likely lean on his network and coaching trees, seeking someone who emphasizes physical, run-oriented schemes, a collaborative approach to game planning, and an ability to develop a young talent, particularly at quarterback. That sounds like what every head coach would want.
Do y'all remember Ken Dorsey playing for the Miami Dolphins?
I remember him being the offensive coordinator for the Bills that got fired, and Joe Brady came in and did better.
Didn't Ken Dorsey go to Miami as well?
Yeah. No, he didn't play for the Dolphins. He played for the Hurricanes.
Yeah, the U. Yeah, he was good.
Wait, Ken Dorsey, the GM?
No, the offensive coordinator got fired.
That's John Dorsey, bro.
You got me confused.
Ken Dorsey.
John Dorsey. There's no Ken Dorsey. It's John Dorsey.
The Miami Hurricanes, and then did nothing as a player, as a pro, and got in there and coached. But he was a fucking stud as a Miami Hurricanes quarterback.
So do you guys agree with me that it's probably going to end up being either Vrabel or Johnson?
Yeah, I think it's going to end up being
What do you think the percentage that one of those two guys is the coach, Chris? I like when you give me these.
88%.
You think 88% that one of those two guys is the coach?
One of those two guys is the head coach. Yep.
Wow. It's crazy to think about that. We're already at this stage, and it's been a week.
And there's still 4 weeks left
in the season. Yeah.
We still have to.
Now I forget the NFL. They changed the rule about coaches interviewing in the playoffs, or no? Didn't they change it so you can't interview anyone until the Super Bowl or after the Super Bowl?
I thought you could still. You can't interview them in that week in between.
They changed some rule, I thought. Maybe I'm making that up. I'm going to look this up real quick. Joe, what do you say your percentage is?
I said 85. I was motioning 85. I think
he threw a bunch of crypt keeper signs up at me, and I couldn't read fast enough, but I said
85 is what I thought. But Chris nailed it exactly. I mean, 88. He was picking up what I was putting down. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Vrabel. Pretty. I'll be surprised if it's not. We'll say that.
You think Vrabel is more likely than Ben Johnson?
Not Vrabel? Wow. That's wild. I don't think it's that.
Well, but then again, what do I know? Absolutely.
Okay, so So teams are allowed to interview coaches between the conference championship and the Super Bowl. However, there are restrictions on when and how interviews can take place for candidates on teams preparing for the Super Bowl. If it's the first interview and the candidate has not been interviewed, the team can conduct an interview during this period, but it must be conducted virtually. Second interviews. Teams are not permitted to conduct second interviews or in-person interviews until after the Super Bowl.
What about if the team has a bye week? Does it say anything about that?
What do you mean, like in the regular season?
No.
You're talking about like for the first week of the okay.
Yeah. The Lions have a bye week. Do you think that would be? I feel like that would probably be my ideal interview spot as opposed to the week between the NFC, the championship and the Super Bowl.
Lucas, he types that. When do you think they fire Ryan Poles if they do?
Oh, it'd have to be on Black Monday. The day after the season happens.
Goodbye to you. What's the percentage, Luke, do you think? I know we've kind of all agreed that it was unlikely. But what's the percentage that you think that he is fired? 20% unlikely? 48% unlikely? What do you think the percentage that he is fired?
50. I said 50 earlier. 50.
I'm
You
saying,
did, but I asked Luke.
I'm saying
You were
15.
looking stuff up.
15.
I'm not looking stuff up. I'm done. ChatGPT ain't no joke, dude. It goes hard.
15.
I got ChatGPT 4. It's pro.
15.
So the answer is yes. First round bye teams, coaches on teams with a bye can be interviewed during the week leading up to the wild card round. Interviews must not interfere with the team's prep and are typically scheduled around the coach's availability. Teams playing in the wild card round, those guys cannot be interviewed unless eliminated or the interviews take place after the game. Can you imagine? You walk into you get done, you win, and then you go back right into an interview. I feel like I've seen that before. All right, and then initial interviews can be conducted virtually or in person depending on mutual agreement and league regulations.
All right, so if Ben Johnson is interested in this job, the Bears will most likely be interviewing him in 3 weeks.
Did you guys, the Belichick thing, right? We haven't talked about that at all. He took the UNC job?
No.
Well, he's offered himself to USC if they accept the term.
USC.
UNC, North Carolina. Tar Heels.
He brought the Belichick Bible with him, which is apparently a 400-page manifesto of rules and regulations of how he wants to run the team and what he wants out of the program.
I bet you it's just a spinoff of his dad's book. His dad's book's really good. It's fucking intense, though.
I didn't know his dad had a book.
But he wanted to, part of it is get set up at North Carolina and have his son take over.
He wants
that guy running a freaking.
Doesn't he want to? He wants to prove that he can do this, like on a college level, which is crazy.
He's being a crazy person.
So, like, what is it? Because he's dating a 24-year-old, he wants to like have her be able to be around people her own age.
They call him the babysitter.
Honey, I know you like to party and go to frat parties. Let's just get you down there at Tobacco Row.
I'll get a job. How about that? I'll just get a job.
We'll
You're going off to college.
The basketball team run through you.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine that guy recruiting?
Are you going to commit?
Well, like look at all my rings.
Are you going to commit?
Yeah, I'm just like imagining him like flying to like a top recruit, whatever, 16-year-old kid's house. Like, what the fuck's he going to say to him that's even relatable? Yeah, here's all my rings.
Bitch.
He's just going to sit there in a sweatshirt grumbling as his mom.
Dude, you have like how much like behind the scenes Belichick shit have you watched, dude? Like when he had the idea for Gronk and Hernandez, it was a pretty cool breakdown.
I just can't imagine it with college kids though. Or not even like high school kids going into college and recruiting them.
But a lot of these guys, you're not recruiting them, you're recruiting their parents. And their parents will be like, this guy's the man. He's got 5 Super Bowls and then 5 more.
I don't know.
He's going to only issue's going to be dealing with NIL.
Yeah, and all that tobacco money. Just dropping loads of cash on with Carolina.
Girlfriend says she's going off to college, and he's like, well, honey, I'll just get a job in your
What do you mean going off? She's 24. Shouldn't she be out of college, or is she going to like grad school?
She's just making shit up as he goes.
She's Bo Nix, dude.
Some of us are stupid and stayed in school for a long time.
What are stupid?
Some of us are stupid and stayed in school for a long time.
Well, stayed in school. You said going off to college as if she was just starting. I don't know. And I understand there are people who start late in life and blah, blah, blah. But like, you pitch that as like some 18-year-old girl going off to college, which isn't far off.
With that age gap, who cares? What's the difference? 18, 24?
It doesn't. It doesn't. It's gross. It's weird.
So the Bears play football again on Monday.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh.
Monday night game.
Football.
Why not? Why do they?
Versus the Bears' next head coach.
Do you guys think Michael Penix is going to get a shot this year since Kirk Cousins looks like dog water now?
Dude, he should. Cousins is horrible.
He's thrown 4 picks twice this year.
I think his last 3 or 4 games, he has 7 or 8 picks and 0 touchdowns.
Yeah. The wheels fell off, man. It's so funny, man. The one of the podcasts I follow on TikTok went from like absolutely loving the Falcons to like, yeah, these guys suck.
They looked decent for a little bit.
Yeah, they did. I don't care about the Vikings game.
No, Vikings 42, Bears 10. It's going to be a
No. The Vikings are not good.
but they're good enough to beat us by a lot.
Yeah, I'd say like 24-10. That feels right. Should maybe even like 17-10. Could be a defensive.
31-10.
Is Aaron Jones even alive? What's the injury report?
They put up 42 last week, 23 the week before, 30 on us.
All right.
28-17 Vikings.
31-10.
We're not scoring 17. 31-10?
Yeah, that's my
That feels right.
that's
I'll
what
go 30-9. We're not getting in the end zone. Thomas Brown's trash.
Oh yeah, here we go.
I'm just kidding. I was the biggest TB supporter on this podcast. So,
Bunch of field goals.
frauds. No, we'll say 30-17.
Dude, Chris, I think the funniest thing about that Thomas Brown thing is just like the people who are like, you see, you should never took him out of the booth. Now look what's happening to the Bears offense. I'm just like, it's
You
too
don't
little
have a
too late
choice.
anyway. You got to figure out.
You can't do that. You can't. A head coach isn't allowed to be in the booth.
Yeah. Well, it's not even that. They're just like, see, they should have made Hightower the head coach. No. Find out what you got. And either the dude can coach or he can't. And if he can't, you move on.
It's also
No
one
more
game
wondering.
against a very good team, dude. Like and a very good other head coach. So mean,
People are ridiculous.
if he still has a chance to go 4-1.
Luke, you just said it. He comes out of the booth. Look what happens to the offense. It's not like the offense was that good, anyways.
I mean, it's a lot better than it was under Waldron, but
Right.
I mean, the whole thing comes down to like just horrible decisions all over the place.
Correct.
From keeping Eberflus to hiring Waldron to keeping Eberflus even longer.
Williams not keeping Justin Fields. Not.
Oh, fuck off! I will
Oh.
mute you.
It even goes even further than that.
Drafted Mitch Trubisky.
Supporting Mitchell Trubisky, not getting enough weapons, not getting enough offensive linemen. Oh, even further.
It almost always comes down to that. You
even
want
further back than that. Oh man, Jake Cutler, he's getting sacked all left and right. Can't protect him for anything. He's holding on to the ball too long because there's no weapons. They can't get open down the field.
he had all the weapons. He was given more
He did.
weapons than.
But
Caleb
his
was
last
given.
year, it fell off because Brandon Marshall, you had to let him go. Martellus Bennett, you had to let him go. He had
Both
outside.
of them fools are crazy, like crazy
Well,
human beings.
More
When
Roman Dunze.
he had all those weapons, he had some weapons, but his like last year or two with the Bears, it was like Jay Cutler and a bunch of scrubs out there. Jay Cutler and Earl fucking Bennett. Good job, Earl Bennett. You're a superstar.
Earl fucking Bennett.
You're a superstar. That is who you are.
Who, Earl Bennett?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, fellas. We just got to get through this season.
Get through the season. And
You guys heard it here first, though.
right.
Vrabel or Ben Johnson will be the coach.
I don't think Vrabel will be. So my
Yeah,
80%
Mike
is-
Vrabel's dick
is
on the
solely on freaking Ben Johnson.
Mike Vrabel's going to plop his penis on the table.
We need to figure out. We need to look at like complete alternative. Like Mike McCarthy's probably the next coach of the Bears.
No.
Yes.
I mean, we're circling back to the Matt Nagy. We're circling back to the Matt Nagy version of the retread. Like we went for like the John Fox in Matt. Well, actually, Matt Eberflus wouldn't even be John Fox, but we might be back to the Matt. We might be back to the John Fox portion of the cycle.
Right.
We are the experienced head coach.
Yeah, I guess Vrabel does fit that. I still think Vrabel's too alpha for them. Too Belichick. Too bully.
One way or another, I think they're going to do something that they normally don't do.
They have to if they like. We know they don't care about winning, but in order to pretend that they do, they have to do something different. They have to do something completely different. And hiring Kevin Warren was completely different. So, I mean, like you said, Lucas, that's the wild card. That's the glimmer of hope, I guess.
Right.
But I still have
when they're saying
faith.
there's no such thing as a program builder / leader type head coach that's not kind of a dickhead and that doesn't really like they all are kind of cut from the same cloth.
They all got a
They're
little
all they're all kind of assholes.
You think McVay is?
Yes.
I think he's arrogant. I don't think he's like a dickhead though.
No, but I think he's headstrong.
No, but I think people respect him a lot. And my further point is I think he has a lot of input on roster decisions and shit like that. Like whatever this coach they bring in that's a program builder is going to want to say in the roster. And they're just
so if it's okay, all right. Let's go down that. Let's go down the Vrabel track then. If it's Vrabel, all right, we'll go both ways. If Poles is kept and it's Vrabel, you think Poles is okay with Vrabel having a say in the roster?
Yes.
Okay, if Poles is not kept, who's the GM that's going to suit the Vrabel need? Or is Vrabel the pseudo GM?
I'm not saying you give him full GM powers, but normally
I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm just asking.
Well, in these searches, you normally, whenever you bring a guy like this in, they normally have a say in who the GM will be or who they'll work with. Like, it's how the Chargers got Jim Harbaugh is because he liked Horitz, their new GM. So there was kind of a package deal for them to go there together. And I'm not saying Vrabel is Harbaugh, but similar deal, I think, with Ben Johnson. You're probably going to have to find a GM that he's willing to work with.
I'm going to ask ChatGPT to sell me on why the Bears should hire Mike Vrabel.
It should.
See, I don't necessarily think they should. It just seems like they will from everything. How many times have we heard them? I've never heard this talked about this much where they're just like, oh, we're looking for like a program leader. That's Mike Vrabel to a T. If you really want a guy in there, he's not going to, take shit. He's going to really kind of steer you in the right direction. It's probably him.
See, this is the funniest thing about ChatGPT. So, like, proven leadership and culture builder is number one. Track record of maximizing talent, but one of the bullet points is his knack for getting the most out of his roster would be invaluable for a Bears team still building around young players like Justin Fields. It's like, ChatGPT, get it together, bitch. But, I mean, you could insert Caleb Williams there and it doesn't matter. Toughness and physical identity, playoff experience, development of quarterbacks. Paired with the right
quarterbacks.
Well,
the hell is he developed?
He had Tannehill looking like a Pro Bowler when he was there. It doesn't matter that it was Arthur Smith. I mean, Vrabel still hired him. And Vrabel was, if he's coming from the Belichick tree or whatever, the Belichick system, Belichick's obviously very involved in the quarterback growth and development. The head coach is still very much involved in that. And they have Mariota and they made the switch to Tannehill. And we're much, much, much better.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it ends up with one of those two. And I wouldn't hate the Vrabel move. It wouldn't really do anything for me.
I mean, this ChatGPT does a good job. Adaptability. Vrabel has shown a unique ability to adapt game plans based on his roster. For example, adjusting to Derrick Henry's injury in 2021 by leaning on defense and creative offensive schemes. Masterfully utilizing mismatched rosters to beat more talented team. Example, his in-game planning masterclass against the Patriots in the 2019 playoffs. Accountability and buy-in. Critics may point to inconsistent offensive results during his tenure in Tennessee. This can be mitigated by pairing him with a top-tier offensive coordinator who can maximize Caleb Williams. Bears must provide him with talent at key positions to ensure philosophy translates to wins. Hiring Vrabel would immediately inject credibility, toughness, and leadership into a Bears team in need of direction. His ability to build a culture, adapt to challenges, and lead teams deep into the postseason makes him an ideal candidate to restore Chicago's winning ways. I'm sold. Let's go. Mike Vrabel for coach.
Yes.
I'm going to do the same thing for Ben Johnson. All right, we're getting off, though, fellas.
Mike Vrabel.
Before we get off, Chris, did that sell you a little bit more if he was selected as the coach?
100. Like I am not against hiring Vrabel. I am of the opinion that he is not a Bears type hire because
Oh, gotcha. I see what you're
McCaskey
saying.
is a bitch. Yeah.
What if they hired him? You wouldn't be upset per se.
No. So you guys never asked me because nobody cares about my opinion on my own fucking questions. But I think Joe Brady would be an absolute disaster. That's a terrible hire. Or like a Dayball gets fired and they're like, oh, we fucked up last night by not hiring Dayball. Let's hire him now. I think that'd be bad. You know who it's gonna be? They're gonna hire Robert Salah.
Yes, they are. That's a good one. That's
Oh,
definitely-
he just didn't work out with the Jets. He's such a good defensive coordinator. Man, we should really hire that guy. And then we would have Eberflus 2.0.
Great. All right. I think that's all I got. We're an hour and 10 minutes in. The Bears still suck. Joe, you do not sing the song. Don't do it.
The Bears still suck. The Bears still